Welcome to the College Football Bros, the podcast ranking Pac-12 quarterbacks. And now, here are your hosts, Michael, Ryan, and Trey Newman.
Welcome to the College Football Bros podcast. I am Michael Newman, and I'm joined by the brother who hopes to someday drive a Bentley.
Oh, yeah, that's me, Ryan Newman.
And by the other brother who may not be DTR, but he is DTF.
Wow. Wow. This is wow. Man. That's me, Trey Newman. And this is not this is not this is not a run of the mills podcast now.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, this is episode 4 of Quarterback Rankings Week. As always, let us know on Twitter and Instagram at CFB Bros what you think of our lists, and subscribe on YouTube to watch the video version of our episodes. We do every single episode in both formats, so we redo it. We redo the whole thing twice.
Exact same thing, just copy it.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but it's worth it. Let's start out the Pac-12 with the worst quarterback situation, Ryan.
All right, Michael. Number 12. Put her up there. There you go. Tyler Lytle. So yeah, this is a very weak QB room right now for Colorado. Lytle is the heavy favorite because the only person he's really gonna have to battle is a true freshman, Brennan Lewis. And the other guy that was there, Blake Stenstrom, he transferred to Princeton, I believe it was actually. So it's Lytle's job, man. He's going to be the guy. And it's going to be tough to replace Steven Montez, who was there forever, it seemed like, and went through his ups and downs, obviously, but he was a good quarterback. But now you take away Laviska Shenault. It's just hard to know what you're going to get from Lytle. But he did have some solid offers coming out of high school. He was a decently recruited guy. He's got some good tools, but I don't know. It's just going to be an uphill battle, and especially in Colorado Dorrell's first year there, and there's just not a whole lot to work with. So it's hard to put him above anybody.
Yeah, and he's a junior now, but only 6 career passes, so right. Just no idea what to expect.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. This ranking kind of falls in line with the optimism that we had of the hire of Dorrell. So hopefully they can both prove us wrong as time goes on. All right. Okay. Moving on to number 11, Tristan Gebbia, hailing from Oregon State. He played just a little bit last year. He's, of course, a Nebraska transfer. He's a bit undersized, and he's in a tough spot to succeed at Oregon State. I really do like Jonathan Smith, the coach there, and his offenses are generally quarterback friendly. But it's going to be difficult as they're, Oregon State at this point is still always going to be an underdog in conference play. So hopefully Gebbia can move the needle, but I'm not too encouraged at this point.
Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm not encouraged. He's a toothpick out there. It's it's going to be, I'd be worried about him getting injured if I was him, but yeah, I love Jonathan Smith. I'm with you right there, Troy. Jonathan Smith's great. I think he's done a great job there in Oregon State, but Gebbia is not, the guy.
Well, I mean, I will say the one start he made last year, he got the call against Oregon with Luton injured, and Luton obviously had a great year last year. So
yeah, he's not Luton.
Not through the air, you wouldn't expect. He's mobile, which is something, but against Oregon, what's that?
Don't want him running.
Well, we'll see. Ryan, you're just negative Nancy on Tristan Gebbia here, but what I wanted to say is against Oregon, he actually played fine. So, and that's a tough defense to go against. So that gives you some hope at least.
Yeah. Hopefully Beaver fans don't say damn too much watching Gebbia.
I don't like it. Moving on quickly from that one. Got number 10, Cammon Cooper, Washington State. And, he's the favorite to start there. He's a redshirt sophomore. They've also got the redshirt freshman, Gunnar Cruz, good name for a quarterback, Gunnar. And then the true freshman, Jayden Daniels, who is actually following Rolovich from the state of Hawaii. He's a recruit from there. But whoever starts, I just think is probably going to do decently well because Leach, the switch to the run and shoot is not exactly the the most drastic change from Leach's air raid. So I like Rolovich. I think Cooper should do okay.
Yeah, Cooper was a pretty darn good recruit for Pullman for Wazoo a couple years back. So yeah, he's got some pedigree. Might start out a little bit slow just because first year on the new program or new system, but I think he's going to have statistically he's going to have a pretty darn good year. So he could climb up this list, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I'm not expecting a dramatic drop off just because it goes from Leach to Rolovich. I think the listeners would know that we're fairly high and optimistic on Rolovich at Wazoo.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to number 9 here. Yeah, Kedon Thompson. Almost want to put a P there, but there is no P. P. Yep. So I had him 10th, I guess, which was a little bit below. I mean, it was just one below him. I thought about sliding him actually a little bit behind even Gebbia, honestly, but I'm not convinced he can win the job. He's going to have a lot of competition from the sophomore Jacob Sermon, freshman Dylan Morris, also a big time recruit, true freshman Ethan Garbers coming in.
Yeah,
big brother.
I think it's definitely, especially between Thompson and Sermon. I mean, that is, I'm kind of 50-50 there. We had to put somebody on the graphic here, but it could easily be Sermon.
Exactly. Yeah. They do have some talent in that room, but I don't think Thompson's going to just come in and take that job easily. So, I look at his career over there at Sac State, and I mean, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't like he was elite. I'm not sure what there was a little bit. I think there was. I don't know. I just feel like he was under 60% completion percentage last year, barely over 7 yards per attempt, threw 8 picks, which I don't know. I think there's some unrealistic expectations for what this guy could be. He was good at Sacramento State, but we're talking Pac-12 here. It's different.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up. But I just think it's good. He's another option. Like he was third team FCS All-American, I think I saw. So he's got the potential there. I don't know what he was surrounded with there. Maybe to take them to I think they had a playoff appearance. Maybe that was really incredible. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I just think there's good options here, which is why I was 7th with Kedon Thompson, because I think whoever comes out of this battle between Sermon and Thompson primarily is probably going to be pretty good, because Sermon was a big recruit himself. So I just think there's good options.
Yep. All right, moving down to their Washington's rival down south, we've got Tyler Shough, who is at Oregon. Shough the Duck. The Ducks, they brought in Boston College transfer Anthony Brown.
Ooh,
as well.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. But it's honestly, I think it's just he's just there for the experience and maybe provide a little bit of competition and depth. But I know he played in meaningless moments last year behind Herbert, but he was 12 of 15 with 3 scores. I like the fact that you add in Joe Moorhead as the offensive coordinator. I mean, a lot of Oregon fans felt that Arroyo, their previous offensive coordinator, was kind of holding Herbert and the Duck offense back. It'll be kind of curious to see the marriage between Moorhead and Oregon, see if that pans out a little bit better. Now it's just at a point where Shough has the ability to move up a few pegs. I just need him to kind of show it to me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had him definitely a slot ahead. We'll get to the next guy, but I think because here the floor with Oregon's quarterback is Anthony Brown, like you said, and Anthony Brown was not bad at Boston College. He got better every year and was off to a really good start last year before he got hurt. So if he's the floor, and then you've got Tyler Shough as the kind of he could be really good. I mean, they seem to like him. Joe Moorhead said some positive things about him in the very abbreviated spring camp. I think I don't think we should just assume like, oh, they lost Herbert, they're going to have bad quarterback play. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. He was a big time recruit. He could be really good. So it's just we'll see, kind of.
Okay, moving on to number 7, who I think is too high here. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA. And Trey, you were the highest on him. You had him 5th. What do you like about Thompson-Robinson?
I guess I'm still buying into his recruiting hype a little bit. But I mean, all of you, the Chip Kelly era obviously has been somewhat of a disaster so far. I'm there, but it hasn't entirely been the offense's fault or DTR's fault. The defense has been dreadful, and DTR has shown some flashes. Like he had almost 3,000 yards last year, 25 touchdowns, and there was a middle stretch last year for UCLA where they it looked like they were piecing it together, and then the wheels kind of fell back off. But they reeled off some wins. They found a little groove. So I'm just hoping that the defense shores up a little bit and DTR gets to kind of shine.
Yeah, I had him one spot below you, Trey. So I guess I think somewhat highly of him. I don't think he's amazing, but he did take a step forward from his freshman year, and he definitely got better. And I think he's going to get a little bit better this year. And after the first game of this past year, they played Cincinnati. Oh boy, I thought he was just going to be that was the end of him. He was pathetic. He was like 8-30 or something, 8-27. I don't know what it was, but he was horrible. I was like, uh-oh, but he leveled out and the numbers were better. So I don't know. I guess, I don't think the long-term is ever going to work out for Chip Kelly there. I've made that clear, but I think DTR can take another step forward.
Yeah, I had him at 9th. I just think there's too many mistakes. He led the nation in fumbles lost last year. He was 9th in the country in interceptions thrown. UCLA took the 13th most sacks of any team in the country. Obviously, you play some of that on the offensive line, but also some on DTR. So I know the talent is there, but he just hasn't been accurate enough, under 60% completions each year. We'll see. I mean, he's got the talent, but needs to put it together.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, let's move on to number 6. Excuse me. All right, number 6.
That's great for audio, Ryan. Just clear your throat right into the mic.
Yeah, right in the mic. Sorry. I just had a big pizza before this, so
wow.
Still digesting a little bit. All right, Grant Gunnell for Arizona. So the main reason I actually had Gunnell behind DTR is I feel like need to see a little bit more sample size from him. It was pretty abbreviated. I know he was a freshman and it was pretty darn solid for the numbers that we saw. But it's a small sample size, and I need to see more before I can really trust him. And I obviously don't really like the supporting group of his team, and I don't think the development's really there. So I don't know. I have my worries. Khalil Tate really leveled off. He had an amazing sophomore year and then just completely tanked. So got to see consistency from the Arizona quarterback before I'm willing to really buy on him.
Yeah, and Michael had him 4th, but before I want to hear Michael's point, but I'm kind of echoing Ryan's sentiments in that I actually am somewhat encouraged on Gunnell. Like, I don't think he'll be bad. This is more of a ranking to me where I didn't have him higher just because I've started to lose a little bit of confidence in Sumlin, just the way that Khalil Tate era ended. So I'm hoping that Gunnell and Sumlin are on a better page. But what'd you see, Michael?
Yeah, I'm kind of sky high on him. I had him 4th, and just because, he was a true freshman last year, and you say small sample size. He had 155 pass attempts. It's something. It's not like he played a couple games, and they were almost all against Pac-12 competition, and he had 65% completions, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was excellent when he played. So I think he has the potential to be a breakout star. I'm not sure if the team will be very good, but I don't know. Under his leadership, the offense could be pretty dang good if he's even close to that efficient as he was last year.
All right. Moving on to Utah, Jake Bentley. So first of all, Cameron Rising, he's the transfer from Texas, is there as well in the quarterback room. He actually has a year advantage on him because he sat out last year. So he was learning Andy Ludwig's system, might work to his advantage. But Bentley seems to be the guy. And even though Utah loses so much production from last year, Whittingham has built a little bit of a system there at Utah, and there might not be a huge drop off at quarterback. Bentley, he filled the stat sheet. He threw 55 touchdowns at South Carolina. A lot of times we talked about before, he had to be a one-man show there, and that's not a winning recipe, especially in the SEC. I don't think that'll be the case at Utah. There'll be a few more pieces around him to help compete in the conference. So I'm a little bit more optimistic on Bentley at Utah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought most of his career at South Carolina, like you said, his offensive line or the help around him wasn't great, especially going up against an SEC schedule. So brutal schedules at South Carolina, not good offensive line play, and still he was pretty good. The one problem was a big problem, interceptions. He needs to clean that up. Maybe under Ludwig he can do that. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good spot for Bentley. I might have had him one spot lower, but close enough.
Yeah, he'll be much more efficient there. So I think it's a good fit for him, and I'm kind of excited to see it because we always wondered, like, we think he's pretty good, but it's just he's just had to do so much. So I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to number 4. It is Davis Mills from Stanford, a former 5-star recruit. So he's got the pedigree, and Stanford was a mess last year with the injuries on the offensive line. They lost both of their starting tackles, their starting center. So it was not really a great situation to be in. And we saw a really good quarterback in KJ Costello struggle a little bit when he was healthy. So the fact that Davis Mills came in and played pretty well was kind of all the more impressive given the context. And it wasn't against bad competition. He had 2 of his best games against Notre Dame and UW. So I think top 5 here is a good spot for him.
Yeah, I agree. I had him 4th, and I think it's about the right spot for him. His team was bad around him, but he was good. I thought he put up really good numbers. He's obviously got a big arm. So if he could just get a little bit of more help, which I think they will, I think Stanford will have a bounce back year, and Mills' stats will get even better. So I'm kind of high on him.
Yeah, in the offseason, there seems to be some buzz about Mills, and I'm kind of starting to buy into it and expecting a bigger jump this year with him and a little bit of a rebounding year from Stanford, which a couple of weeks ago I wasn't really thinking about. But the more I read about Mills, I'm somewhat encouraged.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 3?
Yeah. Okay, my turn. Number 3, Chase Goobers. No, Garbers.
Good one.
Wow. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Ryan, are you tired right now? You seem a little out of it.
Maybe we're pumping through the fourth episode here.
The food coma there, Ryan. What kind of pizza did you have?
Bourbon pizza.
All
Not
right.
just normal pizza.
What? You're just trying to explain you drank bourbon, and so that's why you're.
No, I just had pizza with beef. That was it.
Why do you tell us what type of pizza it was?
Was it beef?
Was it DiGiorno? Was it
meat? That's it.
Domino's? Was it?
No, my Angie made it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, back to Garbers.
Back to Garbers. All right. So this one was these next 2 gentlemen were the kind of the toughest, I think, to rank here in the conference. And I'm going to kind of just lay it out. So I'll kind of give away the number 2 here. Sorry.
That's fine.
Jayden Daniels, Chase Garbers. That was just the predicament. I had Garbers at number 2. It was splitting hairs. I definitely attest to that. But the reason why I leaned with Garbers, a couple of reasons. First, in the games where he played more than half the snaps for Cal, they went 7-0. And when he went out of the game, clearly it was a massive drop off to Devin Modster. It was Garbers was significantly better. So that was a big one. His stats were really good despite not having a lot of talent around him. Cal's group, like receiver group, is pretty bad. I mean, Nebraska took arguably their best wide receiver from that 2018 team, and it's like, hey, in Nebraska, we thought he was going to be decent. He was terrible. That guy was horrible. he was. I mean, he really was. And yet, Garbers, even after losing that guy, Garbers was still really, really good. So I feel like he's kind of carrying that offense. Whereas Jayden Daniels, you kind of looked at him, he's like, well, yeah, he obviously had a really, really good year, but didn't have the offense on his shoulders. He had NFL guys. He had Brandon Ayuk, Benjamin. Frank Darby's a good player. So he had some significant talent advantages that Garbers just didn't have.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Well, I guess I'm technically not with you. I had Daniels ahead of Garbers, but it was one of the decisions throughout these episodes that I thought the most about. I really wanted to put Garbers ahead of him. It was, like you said, splitting hairs. The reason I went with, I'll take the other side, I guess. The reason I went with Daniels over Garbers is Cal's offensive line actually graded out much better in pass protection than ASU. And yet Garbers still had and Cal had the highest sack percentage allowed in the Pac-12. So kind of some hidden yardage there. And just the fact that what's that?
No receivers could get open.
That could be the reason too. I mean, we're splitting hairs. I don't know. But the other reason, probably the bigger reason, is Daniels was just a true freshman. So there's maybe more potential for him to take a big step forward, especially given he was a top 50 recruit. But yeah, bottom line, the fact that we had to debate this so long, because I think nationally people would think, oh, Jayden Daniels, of course he's better than Garbers, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, I had Garbers third. I'm just like you guys. It was kind of splitting hairs here as we got to the top of the Pac-12. I guess what we didn't mention, or Ryan, you briefly touched on it, is Garbers just has to stay healthy. If he stays on the field, then I'm very optimistic with Cal's outlook, and then Garbers in particular.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see Garbers go up against he missed the Utah game. He missed.
He didn't exactly play the top. I mean, he played at UW, but
true.
Other than that, it wasn't like the top teams. So,
right.
But
yeah, still. that'll be fun to watch. All right, and then I'll kind of lay out my case as we move to number 2, Jayden Daniels, of course, from Arizona State. The one thing about Daniels, because then I started to look at, okay, well then you got Daniels. Why did I not have him number 1? And I just didn't really exactly like how Daniels played against the tougher foes on the conference. I feel like the guy that's number 1 was maybe a little bit more consistent. But I say that with the caveat that when Jayden Daniels was on, he was clutch. I mean, he actually led the most game-winning drives of any quarterback in the country last year. Because I remember there were some games where he would just kind of be playing so or below average for 3 quarters, and then he stepped it up when it mattered in the 4th. He's so talented, and I just think he has the ability and will elevate his game in his second year.
Yeah, and his you said maybe against some of the best competition he wasn't as good. One game that he was against Oregon. That game
no
was
doubt.
Yeah,
incredible. That was
insane.
If you only watch that game, you're like, okay, Jayden Daniels is number 1 in the Pac-12.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, he had a great statistical year for a true freshman. I'm with Ryan in that I think there's a chance of a sophomore slump because of the weapons he lost. Ayuk and Benjamin were just such a huge part of their offense. So we'll see. I think I'm a little bit lower on Daniels than most people.
Yep, I am too.
All right. Number 1 on our list for the Pac-12 is Kedon Slovis at USC. And this time last year, it would have been crazy to think that Kedon Slovis would be first here. Trey, I actually remember, I don't know and Ryan, you were probably there too. Before Trey's wedding, we were in his hotel room, and there was us groomsmen were sitting there, and one of Trey's friends works in the athletic department at USC, and he was saying, the staff really likes this Kedon Slovis kid, this true freshman. And I just remember in my head thinking, okay, sure. I
don't even remember him saying that.
Yeah, he said it. And he was of course, highly recruited player. He was a 3-star. So yeah. I didn't really think much of it. But then I guess it turns out he was right, because he was, 72% completions, 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And if he stays healthy again, you got to think it's going to be another big year.
Yeah, and he's still got plenty of weapons at his disposal. So that obviously helped him last year, but it's not like it's disappearing.
No, probably the best receiving core in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, he's gifted and he's got the best weapons. If there was a knock, it's just that, he's not going to take anybody by surprise this year. But I mean, he put up enough of a sample size to validate him. I had him number 1 and think he should be. So I'm excited to see what he does in year 2.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is he made a ton of holy crap throws. Like he made so many NFL type throws that were just insane. He was a true freshman, but he also, needs to take better care of the ball. He had some chances that he tried to
a little
take that he shouldn't
careless.
have. So,
I will say he was massively better than JT Daniels,
yes, he was.
which is why if I'm a Georgia guy, I'm not high on JT Daniels.
Yeah, to be fair to JT, we didn't get to see him much in the Graham Harrell offense, but point taken.
Yep.
Okay, let's
Saw him
let's
against
give
Fresno and he wasn't very good.
What's that?
Saw JT Daniels against Fresno and he wasn't very good.
I mean, it's such a small sample of one half, but I don't know. I thought he played pretty well. He did throw a pick, I think. Anyway, this isn't about JT Daniels. We're talking about the Pac-12. So we've got the 12 quarterbacks listed here. What are your guys' thoughts?
Pretty much.
What'd you say?
Neither of us had anything to say.
Oh, I was like, I must have missed something.
Yeah. I didn't have to cut out or anything, but yeah, it's like a lot of unknowns here. Like you got so many new quarterbacks that you just don't know exactly how it's going to be, and not a ton of returning production in this conference.
Right, and that's the thing that kind of makes it exciting. Like if I had to jump ahead to the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of these guys in the middle of the pack, like Grant Gunnell, or maybe even more so Tyler Shough, like we have him 8th. If he ends up performing as a top 2 quarterback in the conference after the end of the year, like I would not be surprised at all.
No.
Now with Moorhead and the support of the team around him, it's true.
And you've got the two top, well, arguably the two top teams, at least in the North. Oregon, of course, with a new starting quarterback, and Washington. So it'll be interesting to see if those guys work out, then they'll be the top 2 teams in the conference. If not, opens the door for some of the dark horses in the North. Cool. All right, I guess that's all our thoughts there.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for the Pac-12 rankings episode then. Be sure you're subscribed both on YouTube and in your podcast app, because tomorrow guys, be ready, because we're about to get a lot of strong opinions from the listeners, because it is the SEC.
Oh boy.
All
Felipe Franks is number 1.
What's that?
Felipe Franks is number 1.
Well, I don't know if they'll go that far, but we'll talk to you then.
You've been listening to the College Football Bros. If you have any questions for the next podcast, email them to collegefootballbros@gmail.com. To keep up with the brothers on social media, like them on Facebook at College Football Bros, follow them on Instagram at College Football Bros, and for their commentary on Saturdays, follow them on Twitter at CFB Bros. Thanks for listening.